actualization, right? So money is woven deep into the foundation of modern societies, right? Those are things that would see all around us. And if we get carried away with that, then our happiness could be something that comes outside of our control, right? So pretty much we could either control our happiness or start chasing after the Joneses, right? And allow other people to determine when we're happy or not happy by comparison, right? It is natural that we see it as a central medium, right, through which we interact with the world and pursue so many things in life, right? Money answers all things, right? So, but the important thing is to be the one in control, right? As much as money is interwoven into all the different things in life, as much as money answers all things, right? Cutting our coats according to the cloth we have, will determine whether we're happy or not, right? It's not every new thing that comes we have to buy, right? Money is good, but if money begins to control you, you will not be happy, right? Your happy becomes something you keep on chasing, right? But you can also use that money, and if you are in control of that money, then you then become in control of your happiness. If money is in control of you, then you're not in control of your happiness. It becomes to be something outside of you that will be controlling your happiness. So money is good if you are the one using it and you know how to use it, right? But if you don't know how to use it and it's the one controlling you, your money, your happiness will be something that you keep on chasing all the days of your life, right? You probably never get there, right? But happiness is something we need to design for every day of our life, every minute of our life, every second of our life. Happiness is not something we design for the future. We design it for now and for the future. If you're not happy today, you will not be happy tomorrow. You need to be happy today so that you can be happy tomorrow, right? That's what we're trying to get at the end of the day. So some of our happiness also depends on what we see, when we look at our neighbors, right? And there's a temptation for that to be, but it's up to us then to check ourselves, right? Because my neighbors bought a new car doesn't mean I have to buy a new car, or I have to be sad just because my neighbor has bought a new car, right? That's where I used to be years back, right? And it's not a good life, right? A good life is me be able to rejoice with my neighbor without feeling bad about myself, right? I have to be the one that's determining what I have or not have at every point in time, right? Not buy things just because my neighbor has bought it or my neighbor is doing it. I have to determine what I want, design my life, and live to that design that I have designed my life, and not be chasing after the Joneses, right? Because even though I'm seeing that on the surface that my neighbor has, I don't know how my neighbor got it, right? There today, right now, I can buy a whole lot of things that I've not bought, right? But I'm choosing not to buy them because that is what makes for all the things, the way my life is designed right now, right? Such that I don't have to go borrow money, so that I can live within my means, right? I choose not to, right? So my neighbor buying it has their own design, right? Which is different from mine. So if I allow my happiness to be decided or determined by what I see other people do, I am going to live sorrowful all the days of my life, right? So it goes on and says that research shows that the more we compare ourselves to others, even when the comparison is in our favor, the less happy we are, right? When we compare to others, we're either better than them or less than them. But irrespective of what that is, it affects our happiness in a negative way, right? That's what the research from Princeton shows, right? And that's true, right? He that compares himself to others is not wise, right? That's what the scripture says. He that compares himself to others is not wise, right? Our fingers are different. You need to live your life, cut your life according to the clothes that you have, right? And not be order driven, right? Because we all have different examination paper that we're answering. Our life is answering to. You need to answer to the examination paper of your life, not the examination paper of another person's life. if you want to live a good life, a healthy life, and a happy life, right? So the bigger the disparity we see, the greater unhappiness. That's what the research shows when we compare ourselves to others. The greater the disparity between us and others, the greater the effect it is on our happiness, right? So we need to avoid that temptation of being comparing ourselves to others, right? And some quote I stumbled on yesterday, talks about money can't buy happiness, but financial freedom has a priceless view, right? And that's both true and false. Money can buy happiness if you know how to use the money, right? Money can buy happiness if you know how to use the money. The only time money cannot buy you happiness is if you don't know how to use the money and the money is using you, right? So, but then when you know how to use it and you have some enough that will take care of your physiological needs, you have what to eat, you have what to clothe, you have where to stay, right? Then every other thing is a wash. It's not a function of how you use it or content yourself, right? So that's about it, and that's about all we're going to share for today. Just looking at what money is for, right? Money is for use, not to accumulate, not to compare yourself to other people, but to use, not to allow it to use you, but to use. When you use money, then you can buy happiness with it, right? So what actually makes me happy is the question, and probably the introduction to the next part of the chapter we'll take next week. It says, all of us have a rich mix of things we can control and things we can't. That's a reality about life, right? None of us Jesus calls us God, but in that God, there's a limitation. We're not Almighty God. We're human. And humanity dictates that there are things we can control in life. There are things we cannot control in life. And being happy and living a good life is to understand and accept the things you can control and the things you cannot control, right? You have to understand and accept the things you can control and the things you cannot control, right? And spend your time, your energy around the things you can control. Because when you spend your energy and time on the things you can control, the things you cannot control will take care of themselves, right? Your happiness is determined not by the things you cannot control because you have no control, right? If you keep on trying to control it, you'll be unhappy. But if you spend your time on the things you can control, you will begin to shift the needle, and that shift of the needle will affect the things you cannot control, right? The only way to control the things you cannot control is by working on the things you can control. If you work on the things you cannot control, the things you can control will become the things you cannot control, and you will lose on both sides. But if you focus your energy around the things you can control, the things you have energy, you have the skill, the ability, the time, the connection to change, to make a difference in, right? Your difference you are making to those things will, on their own, begin to affect the things you cannot control and make things better for you and give you a better, good life, right? There's one other quote I shared yesterday. I was trying to key into, but it's running in my head. It comes back, but there will always be that in life, right? Things I can control, things I can't control. I can cry all I want on the things I can't control. They're not going to change. They're not going to shift, right? Life does not expect that of me. What life expects of me is to focus on the things I can control, things I can make a difference on, right? And when I do that, the things I cannot make a difference on will take care of themselves, right? So if each of us must find ways to walk with the hands we're dealt, right? So in life, it's not about the cards you are dealt. It's about what you do with the cards you were dealt. And I shared a quote this week on Joseph. Joseph, I'm going through a time of my life that I need to learn a lot from Joseph, right? Joseph was taken into captivity. He had no guarantees in Egypt. There was no guarantee that he would make it in Egypt. in a sense. There was no guarantee he will ever go back to his father's land or ever see his brothers or his his father, right? But he was there, right? And he had no control about when he would go back, if ever he was going to go back, or if he was going to break through in Egypt. He had no control over that, right? Yes, he had a dream, right? But God did not tell him how that dream would come to pass. So Joseph did not waste his energy and time on the things he could not control. Every day he worked on the things he could control. He worked on being the servant of God, being good-natured, being hardworking, right? Having fellowship with Jehovah. His ability to work on that is what was noticed by the people around him, and each place he went, they promoted him. Not because he was spending his time on the things he could not control. He wasn't grumbling, oh me, I couldn't go back. Oh, my brothers did this. He spent his time on the things he could do, right? And that gave him joy. That gave him happiness. That gave him, that made him to shine enough for him to be promoted in a place of his captivity, right? And may God give each of us that wisdom as we go each day of our life, that will make the best of all that we can do, knowing that there will always be things we cannot do, right? But leave those things we cannot do to Jehovah while we do the things we can do, and God will work on the things we can do and promote us in life